Some people disappear online, not because they have nothing to show, but because they learned what visibility costs. Here's a psychology truth most people aren't ready for. Not posting your photos is rarely about shyness. It's about emotional survival. Today, we're breaking down why staying unseen can quietly control your confidence, identity, and sense of safety more than you realize. If you scroll, watch, and remain invisible, this isn't here to shame you. It's here to explain you. In a world that rewards noise, choosing silence feels like rebellion. And yet, for many people, silence isn't a choice. It's a learned survival response. Social media trained us to believe that being seen equals being valued. That if you don't show your face, your life, your moments, you're somehow falling behind. Psychologists call this social visibility pressure, the constant, unspoken demand to perform your existence. But what most people miss is this. Some people didn't stop posting because they lacked confidence. They stopped because exposure once cost them emotionally. And when the brain learns that visibility leads to discomfort, it quietly rewires safety around privacy. This behavior didn't start randomly. It started the moment your brain decided that being seen wasn't worth the emotional risk anymore. Most people assume silence means insecurity. Psychology says silence is often adaptation. Your nervous system doesn't care about trends. It cares about protection. And once it connects visibility with emotional pain, it chooses invisibility automatically. Here's the uncomfortable reality most people never face. Your brain doesn't remember how much attention hurt. It remembers how exposed you felt when it did. Maybe you posted once and felt ignored. Maybe attention turned into comparison. Maybe validation arrived and then vanished. Psychology calls this negative reinforcement learning. Your brain connects the dots. Posting leads to vulnerability. Silence leads to emotional stability. Over time, not posting stops feeling like fear and starts feeling like relief. You don't feel anxious because you don't post. You don't post because your brain learned peace lives in privacy. And the most dangerous part is that most people never realize this decision wasn't fully conscious. This is where the story quietly shifts. Because for many people, staying private isn't fear, it's power. Privacy gives control over perception, control over emotional exposure. When you don't post, nothing can be misunderstood. Nothing can be judged. Nothing can be compared. But control, when held onto for too long, can slowly turn into a wall. To understand this pattern, you have to stop judging the behavior and start listening to what the brain is trying to protect. Posting hands your image to other people's interpretations. Your brain hates uncertainty, so it chooses the option where nothing can be distorted. It believes that if you stay unseen, you stay intact. Validation also becomes a psychological trap. Likes train the brain fast. Dopamine rises with approval and crashes with silence. Some people sense this early. They don't want their worth tied to reactions, so they step back not because they're weak, but because they value emotional autonomy. Many private people feel deeply, but express selectively. Posting feels performative, and performance feels dishonest. So they choose silence not because they lack a voice, but because they refuse to simplify who they are. But there is a hidden cost. Your brain thinks it's protecting you, yet long-term invisibility can quietly reinforce isolation. Protection slowly replaces growth, comfort replaces connection, and survival patterns turn into emotional limits. If you've felt called out so far, that's not coincidence. That's awareness knocking, and most people never open the door. Here's the truth you've been avoiding. You don't have to disappear to stay safe, and if you keep hiding parts of yourself out of habit instead of choice, nothing in your emotional world will change. So ask yourself honestly, Is this privacy or unresolved protection? You don't need to become louder to heal. You need to become more intentional with how you show up. Visibility doesn't mean oversharing. It means conscious expression. Share without tracking reactions. Teach your brain that expression is not a test. You don't need to show everything. Just don't hide everything either. Growth lives between silence and exposure. Practice this consistently, and your relationship with confidence and self-trust will begin to shift. Now you see the truth most people never question. Silence, visibility, and identity are deeply psychological choices. Not posting doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain learned how to protect you. And now, you get to decide whether that protection still serves who you're becoming. Stay aware. Stay intentional.